this is fascinating because this answer that Brent gives is just fascinating because it's very. I'm feeling like I'm reading about myself. You know, like when I was a kid, I ended up getting the First Blood Part 2 replica knife, and you know, I did the same kind of thing with it. You know, playing Rambo in the bathroom. You know, trying to keep the knife hidden. Obviously, after time, it didn't stay hidden, right? But you know, like one time I was in the bathroom and I was swinging the knife around. I was a little kid. It's a very heavy knife, and I'm turning around with it, and I cut the shower curtain open. You know, so I got in a lot of trouble for cutting that shower curtain open, and you know, memories, and you know, I too saw First Blood when it hit on the TV movie channel. You know, as a little kid, on Viewer's Choice. So that was really, really awesome. That's such an awesome answer to an awesome question. Question number 2. Has Rambo had an influence on your life? Now this question, he's going to answer it in full. I don't think there's the some of them have the A, B, C, and D, but this one is one straight answer. Has Rambo had an influence on your life? Question number 2. Brent writes, no question about it. As I grew older and began to learn more about a variety of topics, historical things like Vietnam and our military heroes and how they were often disrespected and mistreated, I began to become interested in war movies, particularly those of the Vietnam era, such as The Deer Hunter, which I saw in 2006 and became fascinated with. I thought Robert De Niro's character, Mike Vronsky, was pretty cool in that movie, and he was at times almost a one-man army and an unstoppable force for his friends. Later that year, I began to look for similar movies, and one day in the store, I noticed that they had all of the Rambo movies. At the time, it was only 3 movies, on sale for something like $3 a piece for 2-disc special editions, featuring both full-screen and widescreen versions, plus audio commentaries and many extras and special features. I bought all 3 and watched them on one consecutive night. I bought all 3 and watched them on consecutive nights. 1 movie per night, starting with First Blood, of course. Finally seeing the whole movie uninterrupted, being an adult, and now understanding fully what Rambo faced and dealt with in the movie, and in his life up to that point. It literally brought tears to my eyes a few times throughout the movie, especially at the end, and I identified with the character in a rather strange way. One that has nothing to do with the horrors of war. At my job, I am a cart pusher for Walmart, which seems like a nothing job, the type of job that some lazy teenager going nowhere gets. Performs in an uninspired way for a time, and then quits to move on to something else. By 2007, I had been working at this job for 14 years, and at the time of this writing, I have now been doing it for over 20 years, and I think I am better at it than ever. Anyway, to back up a bit, I work very, very hard at my job. I work fast, non-stop, and I often don't have much help. I work relentlessly, and although there is extreme weather throughout the year, hell in summer, freezing cold in winter, I don't stop. I sometimes get hurt, but ignore the pain and keep going. I don't stop until I finish getting every single solitary cart off the lot. And I then come right back and do it again. The next day and the next day after that. So when I watched First Blood and the way Rambo took on his enemies, the way he trained to do his particular job, and how he absolutely couldn't stand to lose or fail, I couldn't help but identify with his character and be drawn to it. Some of my coworkers had actually compared me to Rambo prior to this, because I was able to work my own side of the parking lot, and often the entire parking lot, with no help and by myself, doing the work for 3 or 4 other men on a routine basis, but not tiring, not falling behind. I eventually adopted the nickname Cart Pushing Rambo, and I like to think it accurately describes my work attitude and production. Which I'm very proud of, because I like to work hard and do my job to the best of my ability. Back to the movie marathon I was talking about. After watching the next 2 movies, the next 2 nights, that began a long period of time when I would watch the movies over and over again, so much that I soon had them memorized in terms of the dialogue and scenes, which I'm sure every hardcore Rambo fan does too. Rambo may have also helped a dear loved one in my family, at least in a way. In April 2007, my mother learned that she had a very rare and very aggressive and deadly form of cancer. When we were devastated and very scared, but we weren't about to give up. She was going to have to have a surgery, and enduring months of grueling chemotherapy, endured grueling months of chemotherapy. And then of course there were no guarantees after that. Hoping it would inspire my mom and get her ready and toughened up for her long road ahead, I played the Rambo movies and also the Rocky movies for her. They weren't her usual type of movies, but I think she understood and knew what I was trying to do. Thankfully, everything with the surgery and the chemo went better than expected, and 7 years later, she is cancer-free and doing well. She even made it through the chemo and in amazing fashion, fighting through the sickness and the exhaustion to overcome it all. I don't think I could have done what she did. It was truly a Rambo-like victory in every way. That's awesome. That is an awesome answer to that question. My heart's with you, Brent. My heart's with you. That's amazing. I'm a little choked up. Sorry. Yeah, one of the big things about Rambo, like you were saying, is to do whatever it takes to get the job done. And that, Rambo takes the pain and keeps on going. And he goes into it, no fear, no regrets. And this is just awesome, because there's a very inspiring side of Rambo, like that he can't leave anyone behind. Like once Rambo is involved, Rambo's involved. I would say more on the Rocky side, the inspiring side of Rocky. I get teared up just thinking about those two. Pretty much I get teared up with almost every movie, especially with Rocky 2 and with First Blood. Those two, I cry throughout. Pretty much I'll cry throughout much of the movie. The beginning of First Blood, when Rambo's talking to Delmore's wife, and that look on his face when he realizes that Barry's gone and all the horrors that Barry must have had to go through, and realizing he's alone, he's the last. That gets me every time. To see John Rambo walking down that long road into hope, with pretty much no hope, and at the end, of course, I can't watch that scene without crying. That scene at the end, that hits hard to me every single time. I don't think I'll ever be able to get through that scene without crying. You know, even though I have to kind of hold back sometimes and pretend I'm not crying, I'm crying. You know, and Rocky 2, that whole movie makes me cry. You know, like I'm almost crying right now thinking about it. But like the hospital scene, that makes me cry. Rocky trying to figure out what he's gonna do makes me cry. You know, because in the first one, it was that 1,000,000 to 1 shot, and he finally got to do what he wanted to do. And then in the second one, now he's got all these other things that kind of keep him away from doing what he wants to do, and you know, he spent all his life trying to figure it out, and he finally figures it out, and now he's told he can't do it because, you know, he could go blind, and now he has a wife, and now he has something to live for, and now he has a child. So, you know, he's got to be there for that. And that whole movie is just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. But it's such an inspirational story. You know, the story there is very inspirational. And of course, you know, when Adrian comes out of the coma and she tells him what he needs to hear, but with a lot of heart, Rocky's got that belief that he had, that support that he was kind of missing, that Adrian had given him before, and that helps him to overcome the odds. It helps him to face the odds and overcome the odds. So that love there, and you know, that love to help inspire others to carry through. And I love this experience you're giving us with your mom and with the Rocky movies. It's the same kind of love, you know. You know, through the love we can give someone to help them get better, and to help inspire them, you know, to keep the attitude positive. And you know, that's the best way to go into a scary situation, is to always keep on the positive thinking, and always keep the love, you know, that energy, that vibrational frequency. I really do believe that helps a lot. And I just love this. You know, that's not only a great way to go into facing something hard like that, but it's also great memories too, because, you know, you're doing it from your heart. And I love that about what you wrote, Brent. That's amazing. That really is amazing. So question number 3. Do you recall any memories of growing up during the RAMBOMANIA phenomenon trilogy era? Brent writes, I was a little too young when First Blood came out, so I missed that. But Rambo 2 was quite a phenomenon. At the theater, it was a sold-out crowd, and there was a great deal of cheering and clapping throughout the movie. Anytime Rambo would do something amazing to stay alive and beat his enemies, people went nuts. When Rambo blew away Bal's killer with the explosive tipped arrow, and when he hijacked the helicopter after dispatching Yushin out the window, the movie led to the Rambo cartoon, Rambo toys, Rambo trading cards, etc. And I remember all those pretty well. I only wish I had made my parents buy me a lot of the Rambo stuff from that time. I think I was into G.I. Joe and Transformers more than anything then, although. As for Rambo 3, that was the only Rambo movie I never saw on the big screen. I managed to finally see First Blood in the theater on May 15th, 2008, when it was shown nationwide at select theaters for one night and one showing only.